All right, so we're back, and we're gonna be building a base screen now.
Yep.
Keep going.
So cool. Base screen again is another. Everything is a widget in Flutter. So we have to first import this standard Flutter material library, and just gonna do mixing. Let's just do base screen. Um, extend state widgets on state page. So yeah, and we're using a different widget, which is a stateful widget, but you can go ahead using stateless widget as well. So we can change this to stateless, right? It's the same thing. Oh, it's not the same thing, but kind of based on your need, you just customize it. Yeah, if you need a stateful, you just use a stateful. If you need a stateless, then change it to stateless. Yeah, and then every stateful and stateless, right? You always need a build function. So you need to override the build section here, and it will take in build context. So yeah, and first you need to do this scaffold. So um, yeah, all the views, every single view is a scaffold. Just go back to this. Yeah, so this is a scaffold, and then scaffold you can specify a lot of other stuff. So you can see this, right? So the scaffold has an appbar, has a body, has a floating action button. So floating action button, you guys seen it before. So when I launched the default Flutter app, right, that was a blue button plus, right? That was a floating action button. And yeah, you can specify other widgets as well. So drawers would be here. If you shrink it down. So this is a drawer, and then if you expand, and you get this nice kind of widget here. So you can specify that in the scaffold. Yeah, background color, bottom navigation bar, bottom, yeah, so a whole lot of stuff you can do here. So now we're just going to do Appbar. Just gonna import the Appbar that we just created, right? So import okay widgets Appbar, and the main Appbar, right, function is this one, and all the other, menu handler, pop-up, simple, they are all used in the Appbar white layout, and then the Appbar white layout will be imported into the base screen. So we're just gonna import this. We're gonna move this. So Appbar, and to use that, we're just gonna do Appbar white. It will raise an error. So we just have to wrap it in a prefer sized widget, because when you use this, Flutter has a default default height for an Appbar, but it can't find it. You can't find it in your Appbar white stateless widget class, right? So you have to give it a size. So to give it a size, we're just gonna use prefer sized second one, and we have to specify the size. The size would be, from height and ktool toolbar height. That's just the default height for the Appbar set by Flutter. And then child, we're just gonna use the Appbar white here. White class. Again, this one constant. Yep. Okay, now we have a base screen, right, with the Appbar added in. And yeah, so body here. Body. So body is just this section here. This white screen is a body. And we're just gonna do column. And in the column, we have to specify the current, right? So first we add a little space in between Appbar and the top of the body. So you can kind of see this has a white space here. And to add a white space, you used another widget called sizebox. Sizebox, right? And specify the height and width. So if it's a column, right, and then you want it a space of, I don't know, like 3 pixels or more than that, right? You only need to specify the height, and then if you want it, if you want it wide, then you specify the width. Right now, I'm just gonna specify the height 20, and then body context, and then another. I can just leave it. So this body here is another function. So again, is a widget, returns a widget class, and then the parameter it accepts will be build context, and that's it. So any screens or any views which imports this or use this, right, they will need to specify the body function here, and then this body will be, used in this section here. So yeah, so you can see that columns actually you can't put a constant there. So if I just remove the constant, and it should be all good. And this one prefer constant, so I can just put a constant next to it. Yeah, so that would be it. And then size box, you have to put a constant. That's a good practice to do it. And at the end, you have to put a column. Yeah, so that is pretty a simple base screen here. So base screen has a body, and then you have to specify the body. And yeah, so if you use this, it automatically will have an Appbar. And I'll do the bottom banner later. But yeah, so once we've done the bottom banner, we're just going to import the bottom banner and then specify the bottom banner. So we can see that the structure is pretty solid here, and then all the views would just use this base screen and then specify the body instead of do all like Appbar banner every time. So that's a bit clean right there. And yeah, so now we have the base screen. Let's just go ahead building the home page. So I created a home folder under views, and now I'm just going to do create another dot files called home white for the white layout. And yeah, again, stateless widget here, and just name it home white layout. You can name it whatever you like, and again, import this. So yes, and right now I'm just gonna do text, right, and then I'm just gonna do what text. This is home, and then yeah, just do something simple here. And if you wanna center the text, all you need to do just wrap it in the center widget. So if you go here, wrap with center. So this just center the text to this center like this. And good practice to put a constant in front, and you have a kind of the home page here. And later I will just build the home narrow, so that's for responsiveness. So if you go here, you can kind of see the layout, is different. So here we have two data tables side by side, two tables side by side, and then if I shrink it down to a certain screen size, you can kind of see right now top and bottom. So this is actually one dot file, and then this is another dot file. So this is the home white dot files, and then I'm just gonna right now I'm just gonna create home narrow dot files is for this layout here. So this uses a column, and then this one uses the row widget here, so different layout. But now let's just create a home dot file. Again, standard, right? So just go stateless. Everything. So far we've been using stateless widget because the state is pretty much the same throughout the entire lifetime of the app. So we don't really need to care about changing the colors and stuff. So because everything is pretty static. And let's just give it a name, home, right? And then import the material library like this. So yeah, so another thing here. So if you're using stateless widget here, so you can kind of extend, right? Use the base screen like this. I'll just put it to the right. Yeah, but because we have a stateful widget, right? So we need to create a turn it into a stateful widget. So, and we need to import the base screen. So go to package, tutorial, base screen here. So stateful widgets, and wrong spot here is actually this one. Base screen with the capital. Yeah. Yeah. So see this missing concrete implementations of base screen.body because we require this body here, and we don't really need the builds anymore. So we'll just go ahead change the to body instead of build. And now, yeah. So if you have sort of programming kind of backgrounds, what we doing here is basically we inherit this kind of base screen class right here, and we need to specify the body. And yeah, so body, let's just import home white tutorial views home white dot file, right? And then we're just gonna return um, oh this one. Yep, let me just, I think I did it in the wrong script, so let me just do it. So let's just change to home, and this one's a home state here. So change this. Base screen, yep. So body, and we will import the home white, and then we're just gonna return home white layout like this, and then put a constant front. Go back. Yeah. So this is the correct one. So yeah. So white layout for homepage, we're just gonna do a symbol for now. It's just gonna be a text and say this is home, and that's for the white layout. And then narrow, we will build this later when I get to the responsiveness design. And yeah, homepage is the main, so it will handle which dot file to use depending on the screen size, if it's wide enough, or if if the screen size passes a breakpoint, it will use a wide or narrow. So this one is kind of a controller or manager for the homepage. But right now we're just gonna do a wide layout first. So yeah, now we have the homepage ready. Yeah, we're just gonna import the homepage. So tutorial, views, home, and then home, the main home. And we're just gonna do this, and then we see a warning here, and just add a constant in front. So yeah, I think it should be good to go for now. Let's just run it and see what we get. So yeah, let's just run it. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time here. And you can select whichever you want to do. So if you want to select Android, so you just what you normally do is you go emulator. Where is it? Yeah, you go here, manager, and then you add your own device, the virtual device. So it's like create virtual device, and you can pick TV, phone, or which phone you want to pick. Pixels, iOS. I think that's iOS. Yeah. Apple. I don't know. iPhone. Um, Galaxy. Yeah. And yeah, so just pick your tablet or your device and then just next and configure everything. And you should see your own virtual device here. Then you can just use this and then launch it. So now you can see here. So this is our website, just a first version of it. You can kind of see that. Yeah, see this? The app bar here has a menu and has a list of all the navigations. And then this one is, this is home. And I'll just show you here. Let's say if you want to add a new navigation, I just put this side by side so that you can see it in action. Let me just string this, yep, and then here, put it here. So yeah, imagine you want to add something new. Just go here, a new navigation button or whatever, just call it. And then refresh. If you want to refresh, just hit the lightning bolt here. Yeah, it's kind of see this. Right, it's pretty neat. You don't have to go into the code, the script, and then change it yourself. You actually have, a pretty nice way to change or to add a new navigations. Yeah, so everything is configured for you. So you just have to, update the list to add X, you know, numbers of navigations, whatever you like. Yeah, so this is kind of good practice to do when you do coding. Yeah, so now we have this and you can customize it however you want. So if you, let's say you want to change the Appbar background to, let's say to green or to black, let's just change it now. So you go to the Appbar white layout here. So in the Appbar widgets, right, since we set it to orange accent, so we can kind of set that to black, right? So hit refresh, you can kind of see that this is updated. And yeah, you can customize, you can change the color of the font as well. So you just need to go to your correct spot. So let's just say simple menu. Simple menu is just the live counter simple menu. We give it a white, so we can kind of do it gray. So refresh. So now the color is gray. And if you want to change the menu, the pop-up menu's font color to, let's say, orange, yep, to kind of make it a little bit pop. So you can kind of change it to orange, hit refresh, you can kind of see that it's updated. So yeah, that's basically the app bar. And yeah, and I just home white here. So this is home white layout, right? If you hit refresh, yeah, and then if you want to center this, again, you use the center widget here. So go here, wrap in the center, and good practice to put a constant front, and then refresh again. You kind of see that it's center the text for you. So you don't have to deal with, HTML, JavaScript, CSS. And yeah, so this is pretty neat and nice. Everything is a widget. You just use, the widgets from Flutter package. So it has everything. It's a padding, has a container, it has center to center your text, and yeah, and other widget classes you can use. So now we have done with the app bar, and now we're just gonna do the bottom navigation, the bottom banner here, which is this one, the bottom banner here. I won't be exactly the same thing, but I'm just gonna quickly show you how you can add the banner to the base screen, and any views can just use a base screen to build the body, right? And then they will automatically have the app bar and the banner. So, okay, to create a banner widget, right? Again, you go to the widgets folder, and I'm just going to expand this, go new .file. I'm just going to call bottom banner this. And again, bottom banner, another stateless widget here. I'll just give it a name, bottom banner. And again, you have to import the standard library like this. So bottom banner, I just do something simple. Yeah, you can use a lot. I just do a column. Let's say column. Okay, children. I'm just gonna do text. Use a text widget here. So let's just say this is the first paragraph. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do second, third, and so on. And if you want to add space in between, again, you use a size box to add a space. And since it's a column, right, we have to specify the height instead of the width. So let's just do height and then give it number, just do 10. You can do, yeah, whatever you like. So here, let's give it a space of 10 in between. Yeah. So you can kind of see this. Yeah, so we added this constant to the front of every single one, and we still has a bit of issue here because instead of this, you can actually just do constant in front of the list instead of, each single individual one. So let's just go ahead deleting this. Like this. So yeah, and then first paragraph, second paragraph, third, and fourth. And again, you can customize this and change the font size, make it bigger, smaller. Yeah, but right now I'm just going to use a really simple bottom banner. So now we're done with the bottom banner. Let's just actually wrap in the container, and then container you can kind of specify the background color. So let's just give it gray, gray right here. And you can also specify constraints. So if you have kind of conditions that you want or certain size that you want your container to be, let's say it has to be, maximum width or maximum height of a certain size, then you can kind of specify that. Again, you use another widget called box constraints, and then you're just gonna yeah put in your maximum width, height, or minimum. So you can do min height, width, or max height or width. So right now we're just not gonna do anything. So we're just gonna set the backgrounds of the banner to gray, and the contents of the banners will be a column, right? And then it will be a text, and then a space of 10, and another text, a space, and a text of space, and text, something like this. And we want to add this bottom banner to the base screen. So now we're just gonna import base banner. So base banner is in widget, right? So base, oh no, bottom banner. And yeah, so you see this, the body, and we're just gonna, a little space between. Let's say give it 20, and then use the bottom banner here, like this, bottom banner. So you have to put a constant in front. Okay, now it's all pretty good to go. So see how I didn't touch the home screen, right? Because home screen is just this section, the middle section, the body sections, right? So yeah, so nothing related to home screens, but this is something to do with the base screen. So I just changed the base screen, and then so I didn't change the home screen. And if I just refreshed, and yeah, so kind of see that this is the body, and then this is actually the bottom banner, but this is a little bit ugly. So constraints and minimum width, set the minimum width to, so if you want to actually take the whole width of the screen, right, Flutter has a functions, it's called media queries or context. So you can actually Google everything online. So context, and then it's the size, the width. So you set the minimum width to that, which is, yeah, so it kind of takes up the whole space here. And if you want a padding, of course, you can add padding, right? So padding, just do all. Let's just give 10. Let's just see. Kind of see that, yeah, right? It's different. So it has that space, the top and the bottom, and let's just give it, 100. See? Yeah, this is wide enough. Um, so you can add a bottom banner like this, or another way to add a bottom banner is, so if you go to Scaffold, so it has a bottom navigation bar. So you can use that to set your bottom banner. Um, so right now we're just gonna do that. So bottom banner, we just use the bottom navigations. So column, so do it here. Bottom navigation bar, and we'll set it to use a column. Current, and then we'll get this here, and then delete this size box and the banner, and we actually need to use bottom Appbar widget. So we have Appbar widget, and we also have bottom Appbar widget here. So you can just use this, and child, I was just gonna use a column widget, and then have to specify the children. The children will be the bottom banner only. This, and add a constant front, or you can add it outside the list. And yeah, so you can also set the maximum exit size to minimum. So let's just hit refresh again. Yeah, so you can kind of see that it's different right now. So if you use a bottom navigation bar, bottom app bar, right? So it's actually kind of build your sections or bottom banner at the bottom. So place it at the bottom. So yeah, and then if you want it, the space to be a little bit bigger, all you have to do is just change the number to a bigger number, like 50. Now you can kind of see they separated. So yeah, and then if you want to add, if you want to change, let's say this one, give it blue textile color, you can change it to blue. So yeah, so that is the app bar and then the bottom banner. And yeah, if it's a link, right, you would need to use text button. You can use any kind of widget here. So text button, and then you specify your function here. If people pressed the button, and then the child's normally would be, a text widget, like text, and then this is a text button. And for now, we're just gonna do nothing. Invalid constant because functions are not a constant. So yeah, if I remove this, I refreshed. So this is a text button. You can kind of see that it's different, right? When you hover over here, you see this cursor, right? And yeah, it's different. So this is a text button here. So if you click, nothing happening right now because the function is just blank. But yeah, you can add your own logic to navigate to the other page, another page. So that's it for the banner. And next we're gonna build the middle section here, which is the home page here. So yeah, home page. So back to the real website here. Home page. So this section here. Do you want to pause the recording, Fu?
I'm happy to keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So this section, middle section here, it has two tables, right? So one's for the winners, the other one for losers, and each data table is another widget. So we have to create another data files for each one. So let's just go ahead and then create the data table. I'm just gonna create a folder, just call it data tables, and then inside the folder I'll just create data table data file. And so it is right now, right? It is actually a stateful widget. So we have gone from stateless to stateful because if I go to the website, so right now you can kind of see that the how many 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so eight kind of movements here. But if we click the button here, you can kind of see the table actually it expanded, right? So we got more data, and that's the state itself, right, has been updated. So we need to use stateful widget instead of a stateless. So let's go ahead creating stateful widget, and then just call price movement data table. And again, have to import the standard library like this. Yes, and now we're just gonna build this section, build section here. So I'm just gonna, this data table, right, is actually includes the title and the whole, let me just do the other one. So it has a title, it has a data table here, and then it also has a button. So we will include all these three parts in this data file, the data table data file here. So, and you can kind of see the layout here is actually in a column. So we have to use a column widget. And you have to specify the children. And first, we're just gonna do a title, and we need to have a space in between. So we use a size box for that. And since it's in a column, we specify the height. I just give it 20. If you want it to be wider or higher, so you just specify a higher number. So, and now next we're gonna just put a container, which is the whole the table. The container And then child, we're just gonna we use a data table widget. So this is built in Flutter. You can just use it straight away. Yeah, for now I just keep it like this. So this is the overall structure, and also we need to have, another button. Oh, sorry, another space. Just do same height, right? And then we would have, load more button, yeah. So yeah, so if I do it side by side, again, you can kind of see that first is a title, so title, and then this section here is a space, and we have a data table, a container, so data tables inside a container. Then we have another space here, and then a load more button. Okay, so that's basically the overall structure here. And now we're just going to code each one. So I'm just going to do, so title function will return a widget object, and you can do curly bracket here if you have, yeah, you can do curly brackets, or you can kind of do this. This is what I normally do when I have um, small, small lines of code, not very much. I'll just do this. And title, it just be a text widget. So I'm just gonna do text, and yeah, you can give it whatever name you want. So let's say just data table for now. Yeah, and you can kind of be more specific here. Instead of widget, you can do text. This works too. So widget is just a general widget you want to return, but yeah, and you can of course customize it, give it a style. But right now I'm just gonna do text, which is default style, and I'm just gonna add a constant because again it's a good practice to do it. Now we're done with the title. Next, we're gonna do data table, right? So data tables, if you hover over, so you kind of see parameter columns required. We need to give a column, and we need to give, yeah, specify the columns and the data itself. So yeah, let's just go columns and rows and something like this. And yeah, then now we're just gonna get to column. And instead of, just specify like hard coded here, we will build another functions. So get column, and we will build another functions for get rows. And now we just have to code these two functions here. So columns needs a list, right? So the type it returns will be a list of data column. So the name of the functions, get columns, and yeah. So and then return a list of data column. But right now, just do this, and we will do the same for get. Yeah, let's just do this first. Right. So first is a default blank list. So again, a list of data columns. Let's just name it columns, and then it's empty list. And then we will return columns at the end, like this. Okay. Give it this. So yeah, and then it's actually a for loop. I'm just gonna do a for loop here. We looping through this one, column titles. And yeah, just so this one is data table configurations. I'll do the configurations later, but Actually, I'll do it now. So I'll just create another config file for data table. So kind of similar concept to the Appbar nav configs, right? So this one will would have your columns informations. The reasons why I code it this way is because the backend data might be different or the structures might be different, and then you would want to change it a little bit. And of course, you can do it here in the data tables files itself, but I want to keep it clean, so I'll just do it in data table config here. So data table configs first, I'll just right. So we looping through column titles, and I'll just create column titles and show you what it looks like. So columns titles, again, a list of dictionary, string, and dynamic list of column titles, and I just copy and paste here. Each one would have, each dictionary would have the name. So what you want to, the column name, right? So for example, so the column name, the heading. So movement with dollar signs, and if you want it to be something different, you would change the title to be the name to be something else. And this one data source name is so the name of the field in the from the backend, and does it have a link to somewhere else? So for example, the card column would have a link to to each card, right? So the dictionary for this column would be true and false for the rest. And then icon, does it have an icon? So movement column has this icon up and down button, right? So and we're just gonna do this for all the other columns. I'm just gonna copy them. So yeah, we have a columns movement, another columns called cards, and yeah, you can see that card, the links is true, and its icon set to false. But for movement column, the links is set to false because, and when it's just a text, right? If you click nothing, it doesn't take you to a different page. But a card, it takes you to the specific card page. So yeah, set to false and true, and this one true to false, and all the other columns will have false and false for links and icon fields. So cool. And then the nice thing about this is that since we're looping through all this, right? Let's say you want to change the order. So you want to do cart first and then movement for link set number. All you have to do is just move this around, right? So move this, go here, right? So the data tables will be updated according to this list, right? So whatever the first items, it will be the first column and so on. So now we're just gonna switch it back. Um, yeah, it's just gonna do movement, cart, boiling, set numbers, addition, price, and so on. Yeah, we're looping through this, and we will append or add data column to the columns list. So the code to do that, okay, the code to do that is, just as columns, right, which is the columns that we returns at the end, and then we're just gonna do add, and we adding data column widget to the list, and we have to give a label. So label is text, so we use a text widget here, and then it's title. The text is actually in um, the data dictionary, and then in the dictionary is the name of it. So and then to be safe, no, just gonna do toString, something like this. And yeah, and the column title, see, is kind of error here because we haven't imported the data table config. So let's just import that. So tutorial configs data table config like this. And yeah, we're not getting any errors here. So I'm just going to return. That's it. That's it for the columns. So you have to put a column here. So label and so yeah, we're adding data column right to the column and gonna return the at end. So that's it for the get columns functions. And now we're just gonna do get rows function here. And again, it is a list of inside of column. Well, that's a widget for each line. So we're just gonna do use that. Um, yes, and widget data. So now it gets to the fun part, the data itself. So which is the data here, and the data is actually from the backend. So which is the previous sections about. So from the backend, and we have to kind of trigger or just do like an API call and get the data. So but for now, this data table will accept requires data. So we're just gonna do required the movement data itself, and then the type again is a map. Yeah, so it's actually a list of dictionary and then strings and dynamic. Each field is string, and then the value key is a string. Each key is a string, and then each field or value has type dynamic, because can be float, the double, or can be a string, or can be something else, or another list. So let's just put a dynamic here, and now we're just gonna go to this and then finish this section here. So before, like if stateless widget, right? So to use the data or the parameters, let's just use one example here. Whereas the example, yeah, pop-up menu. So if it's a stateless widget, right? And to use the parameter, all you need to do just use the parameter. But for stateful widgets, you have to do widget dot, right? You have to do widget, which is the widget itself, right? The whole class itself, and then data to access your data. So yeah, and then do a map, and then do your functions. So this is dot syntax. So it's kind of like looping through the each line or each data, because this is a list, right? So data is a list of dictionary, and then we're just gonna loop through each items in the list and then execute this kind of function here. And yeah, and it returns a list, two lists. So you can do it differently. You can do it do for loop is fine. So I'm just doing it this way. And cells, so we use another widgets, and then you have to specify the cells. And if you have, let's say, 5 columns, you have to specify, I think this is a list. Yeah, so list of, in the list, you actually need to have 5 or widgets if your table has 5 columns. So now this one is another function. I'm just going to do this. To list, and then we have to end it like this. And now we have to code this. So this one, right, cells, needs a list, so you have to return a list. So a list of data cell. And get row cells. So first we start with a blank one. So data cell cells is blank, and then we will return this return cells. And then we're just gonna add our logics in here. So yep, and then the logics is basically yeah, so cell, I'm just gonna do a simple one because yeah, we're just gonna add, data cell to cells list, and again, data cell you need, child. So you need to specify, for example, right now I'm just gonna do text, just use a text widget for this. But yeah, before that, we actually need to loop through, loop through the data itself. So this one is mapped to E, and now we pass the data each line by line, right? Each items in the list, in the data list, we pass each items to this function here, and now we have this function or this data. We actually gonna loop, right? Do a for loop again. So for um, we can do actually can do entries, and then fill. We're just gonna add each one. We're just gonna add this to the cells like this, and fields dot value. So what we're doing here, we're looping through the dictionary, each dictionary or each data. For example, um, this is a map data, or what I call it, or raw data here. Right, so just each one is a single record. So this one is each line is raw data, and we're just gonna loop through each data, right? So row data dot entries, and then for each field in that, and then we're just gonna extract the value, which is the values you seeing here, and we're just gonna use a text widget here, and then yeah, text widget, and then we're just gonna add to the cells list, and we return this. Cool. Now we done with the cells. And I think pretty much that's it. Yeah, I'm just gonna do one more. I think we're done with the data table because I'm not doing anything fancy. But if you want to do, yeah, like with the icon, so icon next to text, you use something else, something different, called rich text. So you used instead of, let's go here. So each cell you can customize it however you want. So for example, if the fill, I'm just gonna do a pseudocode here. If fills equals, I'm just going to do Python, but fills equals, let's say movement, right? And then you want the widget to be, like a rich text, and then rich text, or icon. You want it to be icon. That's an icon widget you can use, and you just specify the icons. Yeah, so you can tons of widget icons you can use here. So pets, remove, delete, different widgets you can use here. But instead of just text, plain text, you can use icons, you can use buttons, you can even put buttons in the cell, you can put, yeah, basically anything. So now, for now, we're just gonna do like a standard text across, and yeah, each cell is the same basically, and we're just gonna display the values and not gonna do anything fancy. So now we're done with the data table, right? Data table, that's done. Yeah, and now I'm just gonna put set a background for the container because data table sits inside the container. You can kind of set, I don't know, blue, let's set it gray, and you can specify the shade as well. So if you want it lighter, you can do shade 100 to 200 400 so on. So I'm just going to do 100. And next we're gonna do load more button. So if you don't have a load more, right, everything else will be stateless widget because the state is gonna stay the same. I'm not gonna change, but yeah, when you have a load more, you'll see in a second how this one is a stateful widget. So stateless load more button, we will use elevated button in Flutter. So it's just kind of a normal button here. So I think that's a text button you can use. Yeah, text buttons I used that before, just then. You can use text button and whatever button, round button. I don't know if Flutter has it, but yeah, tons of widgets that you you can find online. Just Google. And right now I'm just gonna do blank function right here, and then text. I'm just gonna do a lot more, something like this. And now we have a button, and if you pressed, it doesn't do anything right now, but yeah. So let's just do widgets, or you can return the specific type like elevator button right here. So now we have a data table. And I'm just gonna do APIs right now. So I'll create another folder. Let's call it services. So yeah, and then so I'm just gonna do get pop movers. Okay, so to kind of call an endpoint in Flutter, you need to import a package called HTTP package. And to import a package in Flutter, what you normally do is you go to YAML file, and you specify all the libraries you need in here. So dependency here. So we will need a HTTP package. So let's just add it here. It's kind of same as how we imported the logo just then, like a while ago. So yeah, you just add your package you want to use, and then you specify the versions. It's a good practice to specify the versions, or you can just do, I think, latest versions. You can put it like this here, but normally I just like to specify versions, just because when if they update a library, and then that kind of that could break your code. So it's better to specify the versions of the library. So now we've done this part, then we're just gonna hit refresh, just gonna get all the dependencies, and just gonna wait. And now it's done. We can kind of create this bit here. So first we will need the package, right? HTTP package, and then this is the package, how you import it. So we import this as HTTP. And then we also need another package. This one is a built-in, so we need a convert package from Dart. Then I'm just gonna create a function here to get the data from the backend, from our backend server. So this function here is a future. So future just means that future just means that it's like you need to await async. So you need to do a async, and then you need to actually await the HTTP, right? So await HTTP, you use that library here, and then you call get request, and to call it, you just need to use the library http.get, and you need to do a use the URI library. You need to specify basically your endpoint here. So the endpoint is this FabFox, and then so this is the endpoint. We're just gonna hit this endpoint, and the library will just sends a get request to this endpoint and returns a result back. Now we can do like an error handling here. So if the response status code is not equal to 200, 200 just means that the everything was good and we got data back. But if you got other numbers like 500, 500 just means that internal server error. So something wrong with the backend. Nothing wrong on your side, it's just something wrong with the backend. But if it's 400, that means that you passed the wrong data or it's not what they want, so the backend. So yeah, we just need to check if it's not 200. So we're just gonna throw error and just it's like API not successful. Some kind of error message you wanna include here. But if the status code is 200, then yeah, we just need to kind of convert the data a little bit for us to use that in the widget in the data tables dot file. So to convert, we need to kind of wrap this in. We get the body first, right? So response.body, we get the body of the response, body from response, and then we actually, because this one is a string, so body is a string, and we need to convert that to a dictionary or a map kind of data type. So to do this, you need to kind of wrap it in a list, right? Then list of dynamic. We use a JSON decode to turn it into from string, right, to dictionary. So wrap it in a list first, and then assign it to JSON, and then use the JSON decode to decode that back to from string back to a list of dynamic. Then we're just gonna return the first element, which is the respond.body right here. So first element. In Python, you do it like this, like this. In Dart, you do it dot first, but you can also do this, I think. First, and then s string, and you specify the type. So this is casting, as something. So whenever you want to cast something to a different type, you do as the type. So for example, if it's double, like 1, 2, 3, this is a string, let's say, and then you want to cast it as something else, then you do as double, like this. This is dot syntax. So let's just end here, and then it's a future, and the type is a dictionary. Each key is a string, and then each value has a type dynamic. So yeah, now this is basically your functions that we can use to hit the backend, and the endpoint is this. So FabFox Blast, this is actually a cloud run hosted on Google and cloud, and the endpoint is top movers, and we're just gonna do a get call, get API, so get request, and that will return the data here. So we check if it's 200. If it's 200, then we just keep going. Else we will throw an error, says API not successful. Else we're just gonna keep going, and then we wrap it in the list first, and then we just use a decode to convert that to a dictionary. Then we're just gonna take the first element, which is the responder body, and then we cast it as a dictionary. So just to make sure it's actually a map, a dictionary. So now we're ready to use this. Yeah, we actually will use this in the home page, but let's just keep going the data. So let's just I'll just do home wide layout. So yeah, so go to home. So now we're just gonna use that function. Let me just move it to the side. We use get top movers functions in home, and to use it, you can specify something called initialize init state. So what this function will do, so all the logics you have here, it will run this when this home widget gets triggered or gets called. So, but if you refresh your page, right, and then this home is rebuilt, these sections won't be run. So it will only get triggered once. So if you have any data, if you want to import any data, it's best to just put it in here in its state. So you just get the data first, and you're just gonna reuse it multiple times, and you don't call these functions multiple times. So anything you wanna call once, you just put it in the init state. So, and you need to kind of go super states to inherit all the functions. But here we will do we'll prepare data. So in the prepare data functions, we will call this get top movers APIs. So yeah, let's just code that. Prepare data. So it doesn't return anything, and it's asynchronous. So first we need to import the get top movers file. So import package tutorials services, and then get top movers. So any other APIs that I want to call, I would create files for this. My personal preferences, but I will just for each API I will create a file for each API, and then I will save everything in this folder. So just make it nice and neat. So yeah, prepare data, and to call this, of course, await Oh wait, we call the function get top movers, and data would have, if it returns a map string dynamic, right? Data would have this type right here. And yeah, so actually let me quickly show you. So now I have the other terminals, PyCharm. So I'm just gonna show you what data it returns what data the API returns. So get top movers. So it's actually a lot. Yeah, it's a dictionary. You kind of see that it has a daily and then has a losers. Let me just, can I JSON? Oh, I just make it pretty because it's hard to see. Yeah, so it's a dictionary. What it returns, right? The data looks something like this, a dictionary, and then has daily and weekly down there, but we're interested in daily. So daily and then another dictionary. There are only two keys, so losers and winners for each field. The value is a list of dictionary. So yeah, you can kind of see if you kind of do the mapping between the two. So additions, we have the additions right here, right? And then foiling, we have the foiling. We have movement here and the name, hit and run, priced, the price here. The last column is the price, and then we have the set number, a set name, and SKU. So yeah, so each dictionary is aligned right in the table. So it's a list of dictionary. So yeah, so this data right is the whole big giant JSON, so dictionary, and we're interested in daily, so we're just gonna go data daily, and then losers. I'm just gonna do one. Let me just do winners instead of coding doing two tables. I'm just gonna do one tables. But yeah, let's just take winners, right? So we go daily, and then I think the winner is down there. So just yeah, so daily winners, and then we all get this list of dictionary here. Okay, so daily winners, and then we need to cast it as list, and we save it to something. So a variable, I just give it winners like this. So yeah, winners, and at the top we also need to specify kind of the data here. So it's a list. We have winners, just winners, and then it's a list of dictionary. Right now, right, the winners we have here, it is typed list of dynamic, and we need to turn that into turn dynamic to dictionary. And to do that, we do winner winners dot map. So map basically just looping because it's a list. We loop through each items in the list, and you've seen this before. So if I go to data table, we use map in here. So let's go back to home, map, and this is the functions. So we will apply this function to each items in the list. And what do we gonna do? We're just gonna E has a type dynamic. So we're just gonna cast it, right? So est list on map string dynamic. We're just gonna cast it to this type. So, and at the end, we toList, basically just return the list and then end it there, and then assign it to, it will return the list of map, right? A list of dictionary, and yeah, we're just gonna set it to the variables up there, so winners. And now if you just run like this, right? Actually the winners, this one won't get assigned to winners because in Flutter, if you want to update a variable, what you have to do is you have to set state, because this this variable is within the state. So if you want to change the state, you always have to do set state. You have to specify your functions in there. So whatever variables you want to update. So we want to update, winners list, right? So the winners will be the winners from the endpoint, which is this function here. This function will get the data from the backend, right? Then we'll just gonna extract the winners informations from the data, and then we will convert it to, because each item, right, has a type dynamic, but we're just gonna convert to a dictionary and then returns a list, and then just gonna update the winners list to this. So you need to use set state to update any kind of variables in a state. So yeah, now we have winners and we need to use the winners in there. So to use it, so let's go to here, like, so now, right, home has the data, the winners data. We're just gonna pass this winners to the home layout. So before that, we need to create parameters. So required winners like this, and you need to specify the type, and the type is a list. Like this, a list, and then winners the name. Yeah, and you can kind of use that in your build section here. And again, this is stateless, so you can just you can refer to use this straight away to access the data. But if it's a stateful widget, you have to do widget dot your data, your parameters. So, and now for the white, since I'm just gonna do one big tables here, yeah, just gonna do one table. I'm just gonna do container. You will return a container. Can't use constant child. So containers needs a child. The child will be, just price movement data. So you just import that. Package, tutorial, widgets, data table. Actually, we don't really need data table folders, but let's just refactor that. Delete this. Yeah, so now we have the data table. We can just use that straight away in here. And of course, right, so data table requires data, and the data is just the data that we got from the backend. So winners here, like this. And yeah, so color, just gonna do transparent. You can do whatever color you like. yeah, and then just make sure that the data is the same, the type is the same. So it needs a data of type list of dictionary, and then this one has the right type. So yeah, it should flow from home page, from home, and then to pass to the home white layout class here, and then it will pass that winners to the data tables, and then we'll use the data and then surface that data back to the users. But before that, we need to, because this one accepts what? Accepts the winners. You need to pass in winners, and then the winners, right? You need to just do this like this. Yep. So I think this is pretty good to go. Yep. Let's just run it first and see if we getting any errors. Um, yeah, so you can see before that, getting error expected a value of type strings, but I got one of type doubles. And let's just do this in data table. I think it should be somewhere here. Let's just see the lines 55. Yep, so something's here. Yeah, so text needs a string, right? So because back to the, let's switch to plus, you can kind of see that sum is, each value can be different, might not be string all the time. So you just have to make sure that you kind of do the toString. So let's just try this and refresh. We're getting different error. Oh, it's because again, the length not the same. So columns, where is it? So here, right, we have way more data in the cells than in the column titles. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna, instead of here, it's gonna do I'm just gonna loop instead of looping through each one, instead of looping through each of the field and keys at each key and the value. I'm just gonna, because we have the column titles here, I'm just gonna use the column titles. Just move it to here for each title. Right, I'm just gonna do extract the value. So each dictionary, we just want the title. Yep, and then we choose string. That should do it, I think. Cool. And now we're getting some overflow here. I think it's now. Let's just go to string or some other types. Just go here. Oh, because of course. Yeah, so the title, right? We're looping, let me just pull that column titles up. Where's the data table config? So yeah, we're looping through each dictionary, right? But we're just gonna use title, which doesn't make sense, right? We have to use the data source name. Data source name here, and that should, yeah. So now you can see the data here. So if I compare it to, should be, if you just compare the winners and the winners, yeah, everything should be the same. Now close this, we get overflow is because, we get overflown by 4,498. It's because this one has more data. So to kind of solve this issue, we need to wrap it in a go to the data table itself. So this one, we need to wrap it in another widget here. So go here, widget. So we're just gonna do single child scroll view. So this widget allows you to kind of scroll any expanding widgets you have here. So I think this one should. Let me just go. Go to base screen, and then if I change this to this. So let me just comment out the bottom navigation bar first, and then just do this. Yep, so yeah, you can kind of see that bottom navigation's got pushed to the bottom, and so let me just, yeah, we will kind of get this overflowing issues done later, but right now I just want to kind of go through the this more button here. So load more button. And again, this one is let's just create something called integer. So this variable, what this variable would do, every time when you click the button, this button here, every time when you click this button, it will basically load more data for you. And then this one just specify the current number of rows in your data table. So maximum, let's just say number of rows. Let's just say 10. Just give it a 10 first. And then every time when you click this, right, again, we want to add an increment of, let's say, 5. When you click the button, it will load 5 more data for you. So to do that, again, whenever you want to update variables, right, you have to use set states to update your variable, and then to update to increment, we just do let's say 5 each time, right? So here now we have the data, and then we're just gonna, instead of getting all like 100, I would say it's 100 in the data itself, we're just gonna do take yeah, this many. So I just so now you can see yeah, this table has only 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, and then if you click more, so it loads more for you. So yeah, but let me just get this off the banner first. So I think I have to wrap this in a I think I have to wrap the container in the single child scroll view. So let's just do that. Oh, sorry, I think, yeah, my mistakes. So so I think here the issue is not in here, but in here. So I'll explain the issue here. So now, right, so if you look at the base screen code and this page right here, So first we have an Appbar, which is the top here, and we have a body. So I'm just gonna screenshot this. So yeah, Appbar is here, Appbar, and then we have body, which is the whole thing body here. So now it's just a column. So basically columns, you can't scroll, right? If I try to scroll down, so not this, yeah. So this is the local website. So if I try to scroll, I can't. So to be able to do that, right? If your column has, undefined height, and you want it, if the content is wider than it needs to be, so you want it to be scrollable, the content, so you actually need to scroll, wrap it in a widget, so in this widget. So in the single child scroll view here. And you can specify how you want to scroll, so which axis. So we set it to, I think the default is vertical. So I think the name is scroll direction. So yeah. Now should be all good. Now you can scroll, right? This is kind of not obvious, but if you hover over, it kind of shows you the, yeah, without this, right, you're just gonna get overflowing issue. So yeah, you wrap this in, and then so that you can scroll your body or contents up and down. Then you can, if you want to scroll left and right, so horizontally, you're just gonna change this from vertical to horizontal. And yeah, so now we have this nice kind of front page. And so I just not gonna do another table here, but this one uses column widgets, and yeah, so you can kind of get
Row
the
widget.
idea. Sorry, row, yeah. So, and each one, in each columns you have this kind of thing, and then this one is working now. So load more, and it kind of loads the next 5, loads more next more 5, and the next 5, and so on. And just a recap, how you do that is actually use a set state, and you're just gonna update the numbers, right? And it's just gonna increment that by 5 each time. And if you wanna increase the number to 10, then you can do that. So just hit refresh. And yeah, so first 10, and then load the next 10, and then load the next 10. So something like this. And now basically that's it for the front page. And now quickly, yeah, I think this is way too long. So I just quickly show you how to do the first the responsive design. So if you shrink your screen or expand your screen, layouts, yeah, you can change the layout based on the
Yeah,
screen size.
I reckon we save that for another session.
Okay, yeah.
So right now we've pretty much shown from backend, from absolutely nothing, extracting all the data from 2 different websites using 2 different techniques, then surfacing that data back up through a backend API, and then for you to then be able to pick up that information and surface it through a front end. So for all of you who have stuck out this long, kudos to you. You can now see a data table. You can see a nice app bar at the top. You can see a banner at the bottom. And now you can see this cool table, which actually has an effect when you click a button. And we'll probably load this up onto YouTube at some point and get like a summary of this video done at some point as well. And if you guys are keen on more content, probably just drop a comment either here or drop it in the comments in on the YouTube videos, and we'll see what kind of content we can do next time.
Yeah, so in Flutter you can do much more than that. So you can do like animations like flipping cards, and you can so it's cool animations here, and then you can you can draw a graph, you can do tons of crazy stuff in here. So right now it's just like small things, and then I haven't even talked about responsive design. Is where when you shrink, layouts changes based on the screen size, but yeah, it's whole tons of stuff in Flutter you can kind of use to build your own app or even website. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Completely agree. So I guess with that, we'll probably end the stream here. Karen, thank you very much. And for everyone who did join us, thank you guys very much. And hopefully we'll see you again at some point.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to share the code, but yeah, if people, if you're interested in getting the code, we probably would just push it to GitHub and you can download and play around. I think, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. And we'll catch you at a later stage.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.